fun, and it's great to get you guys on board. Elliot, so let's wrap this up before we all go and finish those beers. Tell us about your views about the STO space, and obviously I hope all of you lot can come to the Angel Pub. It's Christmas. Let's have a few beers there. Let's lay down and have a good time. But before we do that, tell us about this space.
So first of all, I'm not going to tell you about this space. I'll tell you that at the end of it. I've been speaking to a colleague of Core Intelligence, Yaroslav Belkin. One of your guys, or deals with you?
Not one of my guys, just someone who I met. No, he is a colleague from the industry.
Yeah.
We met at Moscow at one of the events that I was speaking at, and
he said he's passed our project on to Core Intelligence to do due diligence on our project.
Yes.
That makes sense, yeah?
Yep.
Right, okay.
Definitely.
Just wanted to clear that up. So, the big debates on STOs and ICOs and all the rest of it. 12 months ago, I didn't know what an ICO was. I just about knew what cryptocurrency was. And myself and Dennis have created a company called Zapego, which is a simple app to pre-order and prepay for products.
Oh, my research team started researching you yesterday.
There you go. Started researching us yesterday. And this is just by coincidence. As he came in,
Wow.
I thought, wow. So
All a new thing.
So it's really interesting, the conversation going on about scams, what's good and what's bad and whatnot. So don't mind if I don't use the mic here. Right. So we had signed contracts with two big companies to get tens of millions of users in the UK very quickly. And on the back of signing those contracts last year, we thought, right, here we go. We're going to go out and raise VC money and private equity money. And somebody said, don't do that, do an ICO. You can raise a load of money and you won't have to give any equity away. So I thought, that's really interesting and we should look into this. So I got home, I Googled ICOs, and I thought, if I'm not careful, I'll be arrested before Christmas. Because I don't know what I'm doing. People are raising loads of money, running away with it, some good ideas, some bad ideas, mainly ideas that will never happen.
Let me save you the trouble. No one will invest right now in an ICO unless you give equity.
I'll challenge you on that one.
I'll challenge you.
Conversation. Okay.
I'll challenge you back.
So, in a good way. So, I went to KPMG, the head of law in Birmingham, and he said, we are not even allowed to say the word ICO in the building. And this is a good friend. He said, we cannot even say the word, don't bother asking us. I then went to a good friend of Ernst & Young, EY, Richard Gould, and he said, we really find the space interesting, but we're sitting on the fence and we are observing at the moment. So, interesting, but sorry, we can't advise. I then went to PwC, and they said, we're helping ICOs, we're advising on ICOs, come in and see us. So I went in one day, had a discussion with PwC, 4 guys and me. They said, really interested, come back in and see us again. I took 3 of the team members with me. One of them is the right-hand man to Lord Norman Foster that designed Ernst & Young headquarters in London. And we took a data scientist with there. I took a few people with me, so it's not just me and 4 of them. We arrived and they had 13 people in the room. They had people dialing in from America, they had people dialing in from Hong Kong, and they decided to represent Zapego and the ICO on the basis that they go through all of our contracts and all of our service providers and partners and everything else. So we spent 6 months. They even spoke to the FCA in the UK. The FCA's response was obviously ICOs are not regulated. We can't tell you what you can and can't do. Our best advice is to treat your ICO like an IPO. Don't do anything wrong. Stick to what you say in your paperwork. Don't run off with the money, and you should be okay. So we thought to ourselves, makes sense. We've got no intention of running off with the money. Our chief strategy officer is the ex-CFO of MasterCard Global, and we thought we'll spend a few months and get this ICO ready. 7 months later, after them going through every single aspect of our business that we're going to go live with, we're ready to pick a live date for the ICO. We start to promote it to private people. It's the first week of September, and everybody's crypto is worth like 30% of what it was the week before. So basically everybody around the table said you should leave this until the new year. Let's see how the markets go. We believe we've got the best ICO that is the best kept secret basically. We have got a product that's got contracts with listed companies. We've got a contract with a company that's owned by Blackstone Private Equity. We've got a contract with a company that's owned by a bank. We're integrated into the ecosystem of all the biggest sports stadiums and all the biggest concert arenas in the UK. So we believe we have got a truly real product, real business, not just an idea on a piece of paper, a great ICO, and because Blackstone Private Equity has bought the NEC Group, we have to go live in February, so we've got no choice now than to push on with our ICO. Privately, we can actually sell tokens now in America. We've got a law firm that has created us a self-accredited investor letter. We're going to be doing 6 roadshow events with Mark Durant of Bloomberg next year. The first time Bloomberg has ever associated themselves with an ICO in such a big way. I think as we have got a real project, there is a chance of pushing on with the ICO, but we are also looking at an STO and we are creating a tokenized bond, and Peter was here helping us with that. So maybe that throws the pigeon in with the, or the, sorry, the chicken in with the foxes, whatever you call it, but carry on.
Thanks very much, Elliot. Thanks so much for your outlook in ICOs, STOs. Now, I want to just ask the audience, does any of the audience want to throw some questions about this space, something that is really niggling your mind? So, yeah, there's a bloke here.
Hi, guys. I have one question for you, from Paul. Jon or yourself. You mentioned going to STO. Lots of people want to go to STO. Now you can issue security tokens, but there's no market, secondary market, because there's no exchange. So do you think people will put money in something which is as liquid as a stone, you know, whatever you want to compare it to?
While it's not contracted, in principle we've agreed to list our tokens on dx.exchange,
Okay.
and they are open to having ICO utility tokens and STO tokens and tokenized bonds on there. We used to be approached by a company 2 or 3 times a week. High Castle is one of them.
But they don't have.
They're all saying they can do it. But
they don't have license with. I think the first.
Let me extend the answer. From my knowledge, and I'm very well aware of a couple of dozens of exchanges that submitted applications for. Yes, only submitted, but in my opinion, in 2019, and I don't know if it's going to be the quarter 1, 2, or 4, but in 2019, I'm sure that some of them will get some kind of approvals. Yeah. And if it's exchanges that are regulated in Malta, which is trying to do a lot, if it's the FCA here, that I sat down with a week ago, and they are very, very serious about their sandbox and the applications that some security token exchanges actually submitted. So there is a high chance that we'll see the situation turning around in the UK. I'm very, very hoping for it in 2019. And also, you already have right now some exchanges that are allowing security tokens. Some of them are not regulated as I think they should be, and some of them are not doing enough of a good job, but it exists, so you should know.
Okay. Just throw it. I think it's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a liquid security token in the near term. So it's not going to be like the ICO space. It's going to be much closer to what the venture capital space was like. And so the kind of Series A, B, C sort of raises type mechanics. Now, people who got into Revolut, for example, and Crowdcube have 19x'd their investment. That's still not liquid yet. So there's ways to do proper raising of securities through valuations with security tokens when it's still an appreciating investment. It doesn't just because you can't flip it on an exchange doesn't mean it's a bad investment. So I think it's just that shift in attitude is going to happen. So it's not an ICO, it's not going to be a utility token. You're not going to be able to flip it into some shitcoin exchange as soon as it lists. It's going to be a much longer term thing. So and things like hybrid token models are really, really interesting. And I think that having a genuine utility token and something that represents ownership in your business is a really interesting model. I think we'll see a lot of that.
Elliot?
Yeah, so just maybe to open up the debate a little bit more. So there's lots of these ICO tokens that they call utility tokens that I think you were saying earlier on, there's not really utility to it. So going back to what I said at the beginning, because I want to get to Christmas without being arrested the next time I go to Disney World or something like that. Our ICO token, of which Dennis can elaborate on a little bit more, is we're selling these tokens at less than a cent per token. But we've got tens of thousands of businesses and companies around the world that will accept these tokens to give a discount, cashback, a reward, beat the queues, redemption schemes, whatever it may be. And the minimum redemption value that we are setting is $1 per token. So people can buy these tokens now at less than a cent. But when we go live, they can redeem them at least $1. So for instance, we've got the NEC Group in Birmingham. They're the largest events, arena, concert, exhibition company in the UK. They get 7 million visitors per year. And when we go live in February, they're going to tell 3 million people, hey guys, download Zapego, ready for the next time you come to one of our events. If you're not already coming to an event, don't worry about it. Download the token anyway, because you can win concert tickets on a weekly basis. To get the contract at the NEC Group, we've had to integrate into their EPOS system, which is used 1 million times a week. So in all of these large sports and concerts venues right across the UK, if anybody pays with Zapego, and also different pub chains which total 19,000 pubs in the UK, if people pay by Zapego and use one token, they can get at least $1, or whatever that is in pounds these days, reduced off the price of their purchase. And then once we are allowing people to redeem the tokens to get all of these rewards and so on, then we will allow people to completely pay for products with the tokens, because we will change the fiat at the point of sale. We've got half a dozen companies around the world that are all trying to win a contract to change various different cryptocurrencies into fiat at the point of sale. So we are absolutely trying to create a utility token that can be used, real community. We are fintech, we're mobile, we've got contracts with all these big companies. So I would like to think that we are ticking some of the boxes, but Dennis can elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think actually in general, ICO was STO. I'm with Nick. STO is almost like a new buzzword, just because you securitize it with equity. Even STO doesn't have to be equity. You just can securitize it against something else.
By the way, sorry for interrupting you. Speaking of buzzwords, now you see all the events for 2019. They just replaced the word ICO with STO.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Give him a round of applause for that one, dude. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's
the
just
blockchain STO summit.
And you shouldn't just see it black and white. And if you look at the ICO market again, it needs to be utility. And we also shouldn't forget we compare here cryptocurrencies to coins to tokens. So everything has their place, and in our case, our ICO, it's a utility token. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's not a replacement of a fiat currency. Is if we, what Elliot said, doing a payment token, transactional token, that you actually can use to pay for the underlying product instead of fiat. That's when you need a transaction speed. That's when you do a cryptocurrency. In our case, we're doing an ICO utility token that is being used on a marketing rewards platform, which is a closed system. We create an ecosystem for it. So Zapego is a mobile ordering and payment platform where you order and pay. However, you buying, as Elliot elaborated on, you buying discounts, cashbacks, special offers, and you're actually getting the underlying voucher. So you're buying with a token, you're buying the voucher. And then when you check out, basically, use your fiat or at one point any other crypto.
Just go to the question you were speaking about earlier on, the speed of performance of blockchain. So Visa, they can do just over 23,000 transactions per second. And I've had that from the horse's mouth because we've been speaking to them quite often about working together with them. But we, because of all the football clubs and concert arenas that we have, we've got the need to do many hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. Because all the football clubs, the people go in at pretty much the same time on a Saturday afternoon. They've got half time, then they've got half time. And it is a problem, and we've been speaking to Block 1, EOS, and for instance, we're picking the conversation up with them again in the new year. They're pretty sure that they can handle the transactions that we need, but it might have to be on a private blockchain. But I wanted your opinion on who's best for that, because we don't want to create an allegiance with any one company.
Yeah.
We'd rather work with everybody if possible, but we need speed.
So, I think, well, EOS has got to 17,000 TPS, which is amazing because it far exceeds what Dan Harriman said it would be. I think VeChain is 15,000. XRP claims to be as fast as MasterCard, so that they've got, but they're focused on a specific use case, right, in terms of what they want to do. But Stellar probably, I don't know what the speed of Stellar is, but they claim to be as fast in performance as XRP. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were worth taking a look at also.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. We haven't got much time here, so give a round of applause to the panel. Appreciate everyone coming down and making it to this event. There's a few drinks at the bar, so please help yourselves. Do finish them off. And thank you so much. On, Neil, Wayne, Nick, and Elliot, thank you so much. Benjamin as well. Give them a round of applause. And thank you for coming to this meetup.